The Souls series is a masterpiece, and I can't say that for many other games. For me, the Souls series is the select experiences I've had that truly stand out in terms of games I've played, and I'm going to describe every reason as to why I think this game is so well crafted. I'd like to start by saying that I've played all of the Souls games, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and yes, for the time being, I'm going to consider Bloodborne a Souls game. However, I must confess that I haven't yet played Demon's Souls and wish to play it as soon as possible. So keep that in mind. Anyway, let's get right into it.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
When it comes to many other games, I feel like through my experience, that many small yet important things in video games are looked over. This includes things like level design and structure, combat and its balance, enemy design and difficulty that is implemented in a smart way. The beauty of a Dark Souls is how it forces you to properly regard these aspects. Dark Souls never gives you a map, you don't get a compass or even a mini-map. Through Soulsborne's branching and complicated level designs, people are forced to imprint these levels into their memory. This creates memorable moments and zones that are left in people's minds. Since people build the layout of their zone in their head, they also remember a lot about it. The beauty the zone might have held, the different shortcuts that you found, the paths you may have been through, and even the places that pissed you off the most. All these moments are remembered because of the way the game forces you to memorize them. I'm not kidding when I say that I remember all the routes and paths in Dark Souls 1. What this manages to further create is suspense when going into new zones. This feeling you get when you realize that you're going to need to make sure you remember this area, or even when you come across multiple paths to take. Not only this, but the lack of direction given in the game also gives a feeling of unexpected when going into a new zone.
This is your fate.
From Software really take this a step further when they interlock their zones and they complete all you experience when you unlock a shortcut halfway through the game that takes you to the beginning, one of the starting zones, and then you realize, oh, so that was what the weird gate at the beginning of the game that I couldn't unlock was for. That's so fucking cool. This promotes discovery, as the player needs to find shortcuts or another bonfire because, let's say, they are nearly all out of Estus Flask and don't have much health left. And all these aspects are strengthened through the creativity the game zones contain. I still can't forget when I first found the shortcut in Bloodborne that led me back to Yasevska's clinic, or even when I found all the routes back to Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 1. I've never yet experienced a game when I truly feel that enemy design is as impressive as Soulsborne's. And the reason this is the case is because the enemy type you fight feels far more important due to difficulty. When you fight an enemy type, you are required to learn the attacks and how they are choreographed. Rather than just remembering what an enemy looks like, it is also important to remember how they work. This impresses me most when I have to learn a new enemy's attack pattern or movement. This is very well supported by Soulsborne's masterfully crafted combat. And that may sound strange for people who have only seen and never played the game. A lot of you might say, the combat in Dark Souls seems rather slow, boring, and basic. Well, you're wrong. From a logical point of view, it really isn't difficult designing combat that is ridiculously flashy and face roll easy. A game like Metal Gear Rising, which has a fun playstyle and combat, and yet is very simple in its design. It's a combat system that is very basic and doesn't require much skill and timing. There are a lot of other games like Assassin's Creed, Shadow of Mordor, and to a lesser extent Witcher 3, which all have regardably good combat, but do the same thing that makes the combat so easy. Like when an enemy is about to attack and the game points it out, basically making it super obvious, saying, look, someone's attacking, press Y to dodge it, you best dodge it quickly. It makes it too simple. Soulsborne's combat is so well balanced. So many things seem to be purposely taken into consideration, like the ratio between speed and damage, the attack patterns, the turn an enemy has while attacking, like the Capra Demon and its fucking 360 turns while attacking an enemy. Fucking Capra Demon. And enemy hitboxes. All enemies are designed with this in mind, making each enemy variant very fair and balanced. It's so well balanced, in fact, that when there are poorly balanced enemies in the game, it's extremely noticeable, and you are quick to call out its unfairness. Whilst in other games, a poorly balanced enemy usually means it has too much health in comparison to its damage. The only game that makes it so that each death you have is completely your fault, that's Dark Souls. A lot of people are quick to say, oh, it's too hard. Although it is a difficult game, a lot of people who have finished playing it can tell you it's not. It is hard, but not unfair. And some will even complain that it's too easy. In games, there can either be frustrating difficulty or challenging yet balanced difficulty, is what I've come to find. A lot of what frustrating difficulty consists of is putting you at a retarded disadvantage in comparison to your enemy, like Fallout 4 on survival difficulty. Although it takes 1,000,000 shots to kill one fucking enemy, you die in a couple shots. And that's just annoying and frustrating. While Dark Souls is challenging but doesn't create a situation that is unbelievably difficult, and most bosses are very fair, all your deaths are because you fucked up.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
And those that argue that DS have no story are very, very wrong. Throughout the entire game, very little information is given about the story, which is fair enough. You're given only slight hints which successfully manage to intrigue the player ever so slightly. And it's so damn satisfying when you connect a piece of the story and you slowly put things together. Put little pieces bit by bit together. You end up getting these joint puzzle pieces, but you want to unveil the bigger picture. So the player is captivated to discover more about the lore, and the game doesn't shout to grab your attention. That's the important thing. What it does instead is it draws you in without giving you much info. And the ambiguous nature of the story gives room for intelligent interpretations of certain parts that are made based on the other parts of the lore. I find it incredible that some of the most sad and gripping stories come from Dark Souls when it doesn't attempt to give it to me through any modes of dialogue, through the game. Instead, it feels as if you experience the story and you are living it. Like when you go to fight Sif, and as you kill him, he gets weaker and weaker, and then you realize that he was trying to protect Artorias' sword. It just breaks my heart every time. If that doesn't impress you, by the way, there's a 200-page essay that analyzes the story of Bloodborne, which is pretty damn crazy, honestly. In the end, what is experienced in these games is remembered through its boss battles and its incredible design, its fantastic story. This is why I think the Souls series is a masterpiece. Anyway, thanks so much guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. This video was very difficult to make. I had to write a script and everything. Overall, it was a pain in the ass, so I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe and like. Once I finish Demon Souls, I'd like to make a video comparing each of the Souls games and deciding which one was best. So, yeah, see you guys.